to silence and lay on her bed and listened for noises, but the house was perfectly still. Then she heard a rustling on the floor mat. Looking down, she saw a little snake. She wasn't afraid of him, knowing he was harmless. She watched him glide across the floor and slip under her door. Were they alone in the house? She wondered. Then she heard heavy footsteps on the veranda and men talking in low voices. One man said, "What a shame, that beautiful woman dead. I heard there was a child, too, but no one ever saw her." Just then, Mary's door opened. Mary stood up, and an army officer came in, looking weary and troubled. Stiffly, the child said in a cross voice, "I am Mary Lennox. I fell asleep when everyone had cholera, and I just woke up." Stamping her foot, she demanded, "Why have they forgotten me? Why does nobody come?" A younger soldier with the officer just shook his head sadly and held Mary's hand. "Poor little kid, there's nobody left to come." This was the strange, sudden way Mary found out that both her parents and most of the servants had died. There really was no one left but herself and the rustling little snake. Chapter 2. On the Moors. The soldiers took Mary to the home of the Reverend Crawford, a poor English minister. He told her that she would soon be sailing to London and would live with her guardian, Mr. Archibald Craven, at Misselthwaite Manor in Yorkshire. So Mary left India and sailed on the long ocean voyage to England. In London, she was handed over to Mr. Craven's housekeeper, Mrs. Medlock, a stout woman with sharp black eyes and a black cape. Mary didn't like her, but then again, she hardly liked anyone. The next day they began their railway journey to Misselthwaite Manor. Mary sat with her hands folded in her lap and stared out the window. She pretended not to care as Mrs. Medlock told her about her new home. "It's a grand place in a gloomy way," the housekeeper said. 600 years old, with nearly 100 rooms full of fine paintings and furniture, but most of them are locked up. The manor's on the edge of the moor. It has a big park with gardens and trees. Do you know anything about your uncle?" "No," Mary said, acting bored. "But don't you care? Didn't your parents ever tell you?" Mrs. Medlock asked. "Why should it matter?" Mary replied. "Well, I suppose it doesn't," Mrs. Medlock said. "He's not going to bother about you. He never troubles himself about anyone." She trailed off. A few moments later she continued, "Mr. Craven's got a crooked back. He was never happy till he married. His wife, your aunt, was a sweet, pretty thing, and he'd have walked the world over to get her a blade of grass if she'd asked. Some people said she married him for his money, but she didn't. When she died, he became stranger than ever. Won't see people. Most times, he's away. When he's at home, he shuts himself up in the West Wing. Don't expect to see him," Mrs. Medlock warned. "And don't expect people to talk to you. You'll look after yourself. You'll be told which rooms you can go into. You can play in the garden, but don't go poking about the house. Mr. Craven won't have it." "I won't," Mary said tartly. She turned again to look out the window. Her eyelids grew heavy, looking at the gray, rainy drizzle, and she fell asleep. A few hours later, Mrs. Medlock shook Mary. "Wake up," she said. "We're at Thwaite Station. Now we have a long drive across Missel Moor." Mary stood and tried to keep her eyes open. She followed Mrs. Medlock from the train onto the railway platform. A large carriage awaited them. A footman